What's up, guys? It's me, insignificant guy from the internet. So, in the last few months, all I've been doing is just watching the NBA playoffs, watching soccer, and playing Yakuza. That's kind of been my life, and going to work. It's kind of been my life since university ended for the year. So today, nothing too analytical, nothing, basically nothing high effort. Just kind of just feel like shooting the shit and talking about this game because I love this game to death. So I doubt it's gonna get too many views as a result, because this is just kind of like a low effort, just kind of speak over myself, making arbitrary rankings on fictional characters. But yeah, might as well make the most of it, because this is just what I feel like doing right now. I don't really have like any crazy video ideas or anything, so this is kind of this is all I got. This is honestly what I feel like I want to do. That's kind of something I try to stay true to doing these like, or making this channel. It's just kind of I gotta take views into account. Obviously, I feel like that's important if you want your channel to succeed, or and I apologize, I'm speaking like I'm some dude that's like renowned on YouTube or something, even though I only have 622 subscribers. So basically I'm like a very small speck on the wall of the YouTube spectrum. But that's kind of what I try to that's how I try to do my thing on YouTube. It's just kind of prioritize doing what interests me, but at the same time take views into account. So this is kind of me just kind of doing what I really want to do now, even though the other half of what I try and live by on this channel might not be fulfilled, because I have a feeling this probably won't get too many views. But hey, every once in a while I need a dud. Most of my videos are duds, okay? So I can afford another dud. But yeah, anyway, so just a few disclaimers. One is I'm not necessarily gonna be like super spoiler heavy and just discuss like in-depth complex plot details, but I am gonna speak freely, essentially. So while I'm not gonna go out of my way to spoil anything or to be like super analytical. I'm just kind of gonna speak normally, like under the assumption that you guys have watched, that you guys have all played all of these games, right? Because this list goes from Yakuza 0 to Yakuza 6. This tier list was made by the user Jessica. There's her social media. There's her Twitter. Thank you, Jessica, for making this, because I would not have had the patience or the will to make this, even though I'm pretty sure Tier Maker seems like a good site. It doesn't seem like super hard for me to make one, but I'm a lazy ass dude, so I wasn't going to do it. So thank you, Jessica, for making this. So the other disclaimer is 2 games will not be involved in this list for me. The first is Yakuza 3, because that was disc only. I couldn't get my hands on it, couldn't download it. But when or if they remaster that game, I'll totally get on it. I really want to play it. And the other one is Judgment, the one that just came out a few days ago in the West. I'm in the middle of playing it right now. I'm like 7 chapters in. I'm enjoying it a lot right now, gameplay-wise. The story is interesting so far, but I won't get ahead of myself because, it's still relatively early on. But as far as gameplay goes, Judgment is good. And there's some interesting characters that have come out of the 7 chapters I've played. But because I haven't completed the game like the rest of these, I can't involve the characters I've seen. Either way, this is Yakuza 0 to Yakuza 6, so I don't think Judgment characters are involved in the first place. This tier list was probably made before Judgment even came out in the West. So anyway, let's kind of get started. These categories I think are okay. S to D. I might not use Don't Care and Don't Know. Or, oh yeah, actually I might use Don't Know for you know, the characters I don't remember. But yeah, I think I'm probably gonna use like S, A, and B. Maybe. Well, I guess as I go along, I guess D will be like the characters I know but really don't like, and then C is just kind of there. B is okay. A is pretty damn good, and then S is amazing. Okay, and then don't care, don't know is probably just people I don't remember. Okay, so let's get going. I should say. I don't really want to go in any particular order. I'll just pick out characters that kind of just that stand out, I guess. It's fair to start with Kiryu, Mr. Yakuza himself. I say he is an A. I think like I like his kind of dual quest as a person to be like a good father figure to Haruka, and at the same time trying to be like a good man living by good Yakuza creed, if that makes any sense. So the way he tries to balance that, so it's not like he abandons either. It's not like he abandons either way of life, one way or another. He's kind of trying to be in the middle of those two worlds. There's a lot of difficulty as he tries to do that, but that's kind of what he's doing, and I do like that. Plus the fact that he's such like a stereotypical like macho man, like super muscular, deep voiced, handsome, just kind of tough dude, right? But you can make him do the most ridiculous shit. Like you can make him race pocket circuit shit. He gets like pumped up to fight fish underwater and stuff. Like there's probably so many things I'm missing out on. He sings karaoke. He's the perfect man in a sense. So moving on, that's Kiryu. Lao Gui. I love Lao Gui. This dude. Okay, he's not actually a C. I just gotta scroll up. Okay. For me, Lao Gui is an S because my tastes are shallow, and I like him because he was badass and he was fun to fight in Yakuza 0. That's how it is. And he looks, at least in this version, actually recently learned in the Chinese release of this game that Lao Gui actually looks different. They casted like a popular actor, a popular Chinese actor. Well, in the rest of the world, this guy stuck around. So that's an interesting thing. But the rest of the world version is looks very intimidating. I feel like he looks the part of like this crazy assassin, right? Who else do we got? Who else? This is Tanimura, if I remember correct. Yeah, that's Tanimura. Tanimura's okay. I'll go B. He's not the most interesting dude in the world, but I think his mannerisms and his profession in the show, I'm so used to saying show, in the game, really remind me of Sogo from Gintama. I feel like I'm playing as Sogo. He's kind of just like this indifferent dude, like beating the shit out of people. He doesn't really follow the rules 100%. He just doesn't give a shit. So it really did give me Sogo vibes. That's why I kind of liked being Tanimura, even though he wasn't the most interesting dude in the story. I see you, Awano. I see you. Oh, it's Kuze. Kuze, shout out. I'll give Kuze. I'll let him be A, because he was a really fun rival in Zero. Awano I actually found to be a pretty interesting character as well. So I'll just move him up. Make him A as well. Some of these have like the original art or the original style, like the non-Kiwami style from the original games. Because my exposure to Yakuza 1 and 2 was the Kiwami versions, which were the remade next-gen versions, because those games are actually kind of old now. Jungi Han. Shout out. Okay, one sec. Sorry, I actually do care about Jungi Han. Gotta go up. Jungi Han, also A. Probably one of my favorite villains in the series as well. He was really fun. I don't know. So like he was just kind of like he was a good dude, and he was always interesting on screen. And maybe I'm a little biased because he has the white hair, so he just reminds me of some anime character. Oh, okay, here's Ryuji. There he is. Speaking of another Korean. I'll go C for Ryuji. He was okay. I didn't think he was that amazing though. Like I like Nishikiyama more. I'll get to him in a second. But Ryuji was all right. Like he was kind of interesting, but he just kind of felt like, ooh, big strong man. You know what I mean? Like he didn't feel super special. Like at least compared to the other two I had played at the time. So that was Kiwami 1 and 0 before that. So ooh, Majima, my boy. Okay, can't go up. I do care about Majima. 1 second. Majima for me would have to be S. Because memes, and he's just hilarious. And he was like a legitimately very interesting character. You know, just the fact that he's kind of a wild man, but at the same time he has a code of honor. You know, and obviously his journey from like, you know, someone who got screwed over and watched his brother get destroyed to, you know, becoming the insane man what he became was very interesting. And you know, every time he shows up on screen, you get excited because you know Majima's gonna do or say something entertaining, and I love that kind of shit. So Majima absolutely is an S tier. Well, he's kind of a sadist too, in some senses, especially when you see some of his heat moves. But that's not the point of this video. Now is that that's who is that? Is that supposed to be Dojima? No, that's him. Who's this? I might get grilled for not remembering who this guy was. Makoto Date. He's alright. But again, he never really caught my attention. He's just kind of there for me. Ooh, Tachibana. I did really like Tachibana in Yakuza 0. Especially some of his especially some of his first scenes. You remember that? Like that is, oh my god. Like I like cheesy edgy bullshit like that, but like when he like put his hand out and then the power went out. I don't know. So that was a really cool scene. Let me X this out. Oh, sweet. Thank you, Google, for getting rid of that. Who's next? Okay, Saejima, I like him for his story. Gameplay wise, he was kind of standard. Like his gameplay wasn't super special for me, but I do really like his story arc in Yakuza 4. It was probably one of the best ones that I saw. And then but in Yakuza 5, he was just kind of there. Like it wasn't. I feel like they pulled out all the stops. They pulled out all the stops for his Yakuza 4 character arc, but didn't really like. But Yakuza 5, he was there, but I felt like his business was done. You know what I mean? It was cool that we get to play him again, I guess, if you like him that much. But I felt like Yakuza 4 was really the pinnacle of Saejima in the game, because man, that his story in the game is so good. Like, I'm even tempted to make a video on his Yakuza 4 character arc, because that shit's really good. Speaking of Saejima's family, Yasuko was actually a decent character in her own right. Oh, that's the boss man, Big Low. Was that his name from Yakuza 6? I'll put him up here 1 second. He was alright. I felt like he had potential to be a lot more interesting than he actually was. I think the fact that we never got a big fight with him was probably a big factor of why I don't see him as highly as some other villains. Because like he seemed really interesting at the start, right? But then he just kind of regressed. That's how I felt about him. He just kind of regressed to like a lot more of how do I say it? Like his role didn't feel as important the further you went in the story, and you never got a chance to see his fighting style. And you know, to me, that's kind of important it's a a big reason I love this game, because the fighting is not only hilarious because of the heat moves, but really fucking fun, like legitimately fun. And really hype. Like if the Yakuza games were an anime or a TV show, I would be eating it up. Like I would watch it all day. But yeah, so there's that. Sohei Dojima is the one kind of standing out here. Oh, actually, let me put Shibusawa up there. I kind of like him. Yeah. All right. So you might be wondering, why is Shibusawa rated lower than Awano and Kuze? I don't know. I guess I felt like Shibusawa of the three of them was the most boring. But I guess But here's the thing, I still like him, but I guess he was needed to balance out. Like Awano's like flamboyant, like playboy nature, and Kuze's just like really tough dude, fucking super Yakuza man. You know what I mean? Like, so he was kind of the middle ground. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but according to my tastes, I remember him as fondly as I do Awano and Kuze from Yakuza 0. Patriarch Hirose, I like him. I'll put him B. I really liked him. Like he was such an interesting and wholesome character. Like wholesome in the beginning, even wholesome a little later, but wholesome especially in the beginning. He had some of the coolest scenes. Like he had some of the most fun scenes in the series, and then he became actually relatively interesting as the story progressed. Like he became interesting in more ways than just that he was like nice, right? He became interesting in a lot more ways. So I'll put him at B. I did genuinely enjoy Patriarch Hirose in the story in Yakuza 6. Was that Somiya? I like Somiya. One sec. Put him up. Okay. Yeah, that's Somiya. Somiya was a lot of fun to fight in the game. Like, I just found it kind of hilarious and badass at the same time. That, like, he was almost butt-ass naked, but he's like, fuck it, I'll fight you. Let's go. Like, he didn't even give a shit. And, his character arc was still it was legitimately pretty interesting. Like, his background, like, with his love story, right? But kind of how even though he seems like he's a really honorable man, but at the same time, he's very flawed. He's very flawed at the same time. So kind of his imperfections made him interesting in the series. Not agreeable. He didn't make him an agreeable person, just an interesting person within the context of the story. Right? And to cap it all off, your final fight with him in Yakuza 6 is one of my favorites of all time. One of my favorite fights in the game. It was really, really good. I wish that fight lasted longer because it was so good. Let's see. Who got it? This dude, I remember him. He's from the little Nagamo's gang. Didn't care about him much. The Florist of Sai. Don't care about him either. Sorry if anyone likes him. Ooh, Takasugi, right here from Yakuza 5. I quite like him. I don't know. I liked his little dynamic with Shinada. I think it was fun. Like, I think him and Shinada's little back and forth that they kept having, their kind of development as friends, like as the loan shark and the debtor, right? But it evolved into like a legitimate friendship. Then you learn about Takasugi's history of loving baseball and how that connects to Shinada. It was nice. I liked him. I really did enjoy him. Sayama, Kaoru Sayama, I remember it was her name. She was alright. Okay, so some context on my opinion on Sayama. In open play and in like free roam, she was a lot of fun to have. There was some cool combos you did with her, like when you're as Kiryu, you used to have some cool combo moves. That was fun, and it was good for the first time playing a Yakuza game because I went in chronological order from 0 to 6, right, and now Judgment that I'm currently playing, it was cool for the first time to like have a friend fighting, like to have some backup, because in 0, you're basically by yourself most of the time fighting, and then in Kiwami 1 you only have Haruka around. She doesn't fight, she's just a little girl, right? like she ain't gonna do anything, understandably. But so for the first time, it was actually kind of cool having Kaoru there, just kind of helping you out in a fight, doing some 2-person combos, some cool heat moves together. Like, it was cool. But as far as the story goes, I feel like she had potential to be a lot more than she became. Like, she was initially framed as like this really cool, badass cop, right? And I was like, oh, that's sick. That's pretty sick, right? But she eventually, the writers eventually started kind of clowning her for the sake of making Kiryu look cooler, which didn't really sit well with me. I'm like, she could have been so much better. But like, she became more and more a device for Kiryu to look better in the eyes of the player, rather than as her own character, right? Like, she still had a whole like thing about reuniting with Ryuji and stuff. Like, she still had a little bit of a character arc, but like, I felt like it was diminished a little by the fact that she seemed mostly there to boost up Kiryu rather than to be her own character, right? And like, she's framed as like this like fucking awesome cop who can kick ass, but then like at the same time, like, a slap takes her down. There's this one cutscene where like she got knocked down by a slap and she didn't get up. Like, it was weird, I wish they would bring her back and just kind of like recover her character like Dragon Ball Broly style, but I doubt that's gonna happen anytime soon. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, it was still cool to have like a partner in the game to fight with. Next, that's Nishitani, right? This is Nishitani. I remember him. Very awesome. I loved him in Yakuza 0. One of the most fun dudes to fight. He had a really cool dynamic going on with Majima. But yeah, so rest in peace, by the way, to him, because I was so upset when he got killed off, because that was like the first side character, like good non-evil side character, that I was like, you know what, I'm really vibing with this dude. I like this dude, and then they killed him. So it's some heartbreak there, I actually can't tell who the hell this is. Who is this? Is that like Yumi? Is that like the girl Kiryu likes in Yakuza 1? I can't exactly tell, so I'm going to put her in the don't know category. I'm sorry if there are people who know, even if anyone's watching this. All the 0.7 people that are watching. Nagumo, I liked him. He was alright. That is Makoto Tachibana, right? Yes. She was cool too, actually. I liked her story. I liked her little... I liked her involvement in Zero. She was always interesting. And at least in my opinion, she felt interesting. And it was kind of nice that they brought her back in Kiwami 2, was it? Like, she had a little reunion with Majima. That was nice. Ooh, Akiyama, how have I not? Okay. Let's move up a little so I can bring him. Akiyama, going up. Final floor. Akiyama S. I love him. I love him to death. Akiyama's amazing. So first of all, love his moveset. I really do enjoy his moveset. Just kind of, he's probably one of the most fun protagonists to fight as. Like, I just really love his fighting style. By the way, that's actually one of the compliments I should have had for Majima. Actually, that's another reason I like Majima. So tracking back to my justification for Majima, I also really like Majima's moveset. Right? But anyway. Yeah, so about Akiyama, I feel like he has a very interesting role in the story, like, because he's not a Yakuza proper, right? But he's kind of in the thick of things, but at the same time, he's not necessarily, like, he doesn't necessarily have a huge target on his back. So he's kind of in an interesting middle ground where he's involved, but not really. So... And also there's, like, just in his general personality where he's just kind of chilling. Every once in a while when he wants to go into hiding, he just hangs out with homeless dudes and just kind of messes around. He's lazy, like, so he's always interesting, right? So, and he has a relatively funny dynamic with his secretary. I think it's Hana was her name. And, yeah, and he's voiced by Shoyo's from Gintama. Shoyo is voice actor. apologies, I don't actually know the name of the voice actor at the top of my head. These days, this is kind of unrelated. These days, I'm starting to catch on more and more to Japanese voice actors. Like, I'm getting more into the kind of the knowledge of Japanese voice actors, because in the last like year and a half, I've been watching a lot more anime subbed. So I've kind of gotten attached to certain voices and stuff. Like, I've become a sub fanboy in some regards, but I'm not quite there yet. I still got to learn a lot of names, right? So. But yeah, so that's that. Daigo Dojima, he's alright. He never really interested me. I don't know, like, he's okay. I don't even have that much to say about him. Like, he's always there. He's in most of the games, but I just never found him that interesting. Don't know. There is a cool fight with him though in Yakuza 4 in the final boss fight there in the 4-man. Or 8, if you want to call it 8-man boss fight, which was amazing. That patriarch Fumano, was that the name? Shimano? Fumano? Something like that. I remember this dude. He was okay as well. Big beast. I'm guessing. Is that like Kiryu's foster father? This is him. Hard to say. I don't really know where to put him, actually. To be totally honest. Oh shit. We'll just put him at C. I'm not totally sure. Nishikiyama, let's put him up there. Cool dude. It was one of the better villains, definitely. I enjoyed him and his little dynamic with Kiryu throughout 0 and 1. Ooh, Shinada. Let's throw Shinada into the mix. Yeah, I like Shinada, you know, because so some people might know, whoever's watching, some people might know that I'm like a little bit of no, not even a little bit. I'm a sports junkie, right? Like, so I just love sports. So the fact that they used professional baseball to tell Shinada's story, mostly from start to finish, I found that really interesting. So like, I had no business being as interested as I was in Shinada's story, because they used pro baseball as like a conduit to tell his story. So I found that very, very interesting, and I did appreciate it. They just kind of shoehorn sports in there, and I liked it. As for Shinada, you know, he's a pretty cool dude. You know, he's pretty peaceful. Like, he'll kick your ass if he needs to, but like, he just wants to be left alone. He's just kind of hanging out there, trying to do his thing. Doesn't want to intrude on anyone. He has a lot of like, he has just a lot of innocent interactions with you know, other main characters and stuff. Especially his little interaction with Akiyama and Yakuza 5 when he went to Kamurocho. Like, that was really nice. I like that. Like, other than the fact that he was, you know, Haruto's dad, and you know, the future husband of Haruka, I never really found this dude too interesting, so I gotta put him at a C. Haruka also a C. I don't know. I like, as an individual character, I didn't find her that interesting. She's just kind of like, for me at least, she just feels kind of like a Mary Sue. She's just you know, a good, like, innocent person, I guess, and that's kind of the whole angle they were going with for most of her appearances in the games, right? So it's not a bad thing that she's a good person. That's fine, you know. You know, good people are good, right? But like, as far as like storytelling goes and like involvement in the game and general interest in this product, I never really cared about her. Like, even in Yakuza 5, like, I dragged my feet through her chapter just because I was like, oh, I just don't care. Like, as a character, I don't care. But, you know, whatever, I guess. Let's see. Oh, I don't exactly remember this dude's name, but I do remember liking him in 0. He was he. By the way, that's another reason I like Takasugi from Yakuza 5. Now that we mention it, is kind of he's like there bothering Majima and like kind of like seeming to to intimidate him, like just trying to be intimidating, but at the same time he's on his side. So like the line of enemy and friend is kind of blurred between him and Majima, which made him like always interesting when he showed up, right? So that's another reason I thought Takasugi was a lot of fun as a character, because he reminded me of that guy, except you know Takasugi's a lot less important. Neo Iwami, I remember this, Mr. President. I didn't care about him. I don't know, I didn't find him that interesting. Who else? Ed was a bit of a beast. I'll put him at C. That's kind of all he had going for him. I don't remember who this is. Is that Yayoi Dojima? Is that the wife of Sohei? At least I think so. Put her at C. Oh, speaking of Sohei Dojima, I'll put him at C as well. Was that Arai? That's the guy you fought in Yakuza 4. I liked him, so I'll put him at a B. I think we're running out of people. Who is this? You guys remember who? I mean, this is not live, so I don't know why I'm asking, but I don't remember who this is. No, I think I do remember him now. Is that what was his name? Was it Kido or something? It was kind of like a low-level Yakuza in Yakuza 4, and you fight him in a boss battle as Saejima at the end. Except I don't remember his name. Let me see. Yeah, that's him, Takashi Kido. I liked him actually. I remember him now. I couldn't remember him. But I do. Now that I remember him, yeah, he was cool. I liked him. He's B. He's a B for sure. There's Haruto here. He's a little bit of a daredevil, so I feel like he deserves a C. Like, for a child that can't speak, I feel like that's really good. You know, he's a little bit of a bastard. One of my favorite cutscenes in all of Yakuza was Yakuza 6, where the Jingwan Mafia attacks, you know, Kiryu and his boys from Hiroshima, and they gotta like protect Haruto, so they start throwing him around like a football, and Haruto in the air is like laughing because he's enjoying it, like a little bastard. So I feel like just that alone should put Haruto up there. There's Koshimizu. I do remember him. He was cool. Yeah, he was a lot more interesting than he let on. So I'm wondering if he'll be involved in the next proper Yakuza title. He hasn't shown up in Judgment yet. I don't know if any Yakuza proper characters are going to show up, but if they do, Koshimizu has not been one of them so far, 7 chapters in. But so maybe in the next like proper Yakuza title he'll be involved, because he had a pretty interesting end to his character. Like he was fun to fight in the first place, but he had an interesting end to his character arc where he didn't kill. I forgot her name. He didn't kill the bartender, the bartender that Nagamo's in love with, that Somiya also dated, but I can't remember her name. So, but yeah, so he definitely had an interesting end to his character arc. Plus, he was just generally fun to fight. So, I feel like a B. Maybe that's a little too high for anyone watching that's familiar with the series, but whatever, I guess. Alright, there's a few characters I don't necessarily care about, right? Like, it's not that I don't think they're bad, but I don't even have enough of an opinion on them to rate them. Like, there's just like, I'm just kind of whatever, they're just there for me. So it would have to be Hana, sorry, bartender lady. Who else? Who the fuck is this? I don't know who that is. I don't know you, buddy. I can't remember who the hell that is. Who's this? Is that... What was his name? Like Matsunaga or something? He was with the He was with the Nagamo family. Or the Hirose, sorry, Hirose family. He's okay. Sarah. Masaru Sera, I think was his name. He was okay as well. Although, like, they built him... Oh, speaking of Sarah, though, they built him up in Yakuza 6 a little, right? So I ended up being pretty interested in him. But then Yakuza Kiwami 1 comes around, and he's fucking dead. He's already dead. Like, he didn't do anything. So it was a little bit of a letdown. I wanted to know more about him. Like, I wanted him to be more involved, but hey. And I will recognize that, Yakuza 1 is the first game, and then 0 came out in like 2016, 17. So there's a bit of a gap, right? So the fact that they included him and made him involved in the story at all was pretty good. But for me, someone playing in chronological order who didn't know that, I had no prior knowledge of the other games, right? So I played Yakuza 0, completed it, moved on to Yakuza 1, or Kiwami 1, and that's what I got. So that was just my experience with him. Oda from 0. Speaking of Yakuza 0. Just go up. No, I do care about Oda. I'm just gonna go up. Oda's a B. I liked him. I just kind of enjoyed interactions with him. So he was a cool character. This dude I don't like. Fuck. He's been in. I feel like he's been in more than one game, but I don't remember anything about him. Like, damn. Sorry, man. I'm gonna have to put him over here. What was this dude's name again? Mitsuzo? Something like that? Matsuzo. Yeah, so he was okay. Kurusu, also alright, I guess. Oh, Shigeki Baba. Man, I never really found him too interesting either. I'll have to put him here. It might be a little controversial that Haruto is rated higher than Shigeki Baba, but hey, that's how it is. Who is this? Is that the guy? Oh. I think I do remember this guy. If this is the right guy that I'm thinking about, right? If this is the dude that's on my mind, right? This is like Majima's underling, who's just as crazy, almost as crazy as Majima himself. I think he has he has red hair or something. This picture doesn't show too much, but he has red hair. There's this one scene I think in Yakuza 4 where he's singing terrible karaoke in the bar, and then you fight him, and he gets drunk as hell. Right? I actually really like him, so I gotta go. If this is the guy I'm thinking of, I like him a lot, so I gotta put him in the A category actually, which might ruffle some people's feathers because he's among some pretty prestige company. Excluding Jungi Han, because I don't think he's that popular, but everyone else is, I think, probably pretty highly rated as characters. This is as far as I think. I don't know. I actually don't know what people think of Somiya. But anyway, is that Terada? Terada, I didn't care about him either. I'm pretty sure. I think that's the Yakuza 2 version, so I don't recognize him. But I think because he looks like a fat man. He seems like Terada, so I'm gonna assume that's Terada. This guy, who the hell is this? I don't know who this is. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't remember. Who is this guy? Who the hell is this guy? I don't remember who this guy is either. Don't remember who this is. Is that Kashiwagi? I like him. I'll put him up here. I like him. I hope I got his name right. Was this Lee? Oh, shout out to Lee, by the way. B. He's definitely in the B category. And there's just this dude. I didn't care about him. Don't remember who this is. The fuck is this dude? I'm really sorry if I don't remember who this dude is. So I'm just gonna put him here. Yeah, that's everything. That's everyone. So this is my tier list. So in S, so I only do have 3 S tier characters, so that might be a little weird for some people. But that's how it is. It takes a lot to be S tier, and these 3, Lao Gui, Majima, and Akiyama, they got it. But it's not like being A is like super. It's a super like demotion or anything, right? Like A, I also really like these characters. It's just that the guys in S, I just feel like they were a little bit of a step beyond, right? They just had that. They had that little extra factor, I think, that put them up there. So, but A is still very good. I don't want it to seem like I'm shitting on the A characters because they're not S. Like the A characters, I love them too. I love them a lot, right? Like Jun Gihan is one of my favorite villains. Nishikiyama was fun. The drunk dude that I just talked about, Majima's underling, he was great. Somiya is also one of my favorite villains. Tachibana is one of my favorite characters. Awano was so interesting. Kuze, he's your first, or if you play chronologically, he's your first rival, right? So Kuze's up there. There's memories with Kuze, right? And then there's Kiryu. That's Papa Yakuza himself, right? You can't go wrong with Kiryu. He's a good man. He's strong. He has a lot of hobbies. He's a good dad and a good Yakuza. So you can't go wrong. And then there's B. Pretty good characters. I'll sing their praises as well. Characters that I enjoy, I would love to see in future games if they haven't died already. And then C is kind of where it gets a little hazy. C, I feel like, are characters that had more potential, that could have been more. I think that's kind of the theme with most C characters, is that they had something going, but it wasn't really executed perfectly. Or not perfectly. Perfectly, that's unfair. It wasn't executed super well, in my opinion. And then some of the other C guys are just kind of like, they're just like Ed. Like, Ed's just a beast. Like, he wasn't really that interesting a character. He was just like a big, strong dude. So probably C is like a good rating. Like, if I feel like that's doing some decent justice to Ed. Maybe it's a little too high for some people. I have a dumb reason for putting Haruto up there, but he's up there. And yeah, so that's kind of the characters. I feel like C could have been more. D were just there for me. Like, I don't think they're like heinous. Like, I don't think like they're like a fucking cancer or anything to the series. Like, they're not that bad. But I just didn't care, right? Like, it's like they're there, but if they weren't, I wouldn't feel the difference. That's how I feel about them, right? And then, yeah, like the don't care category is just kind of whatever. Like, I haven't even thought about these people enough to put them in the list. Like, I don't remember anything about them. Although I do remember some interactions between Hana and Akiyama, but I don't know. I don't remember anything else. And those other ones, just whatever. And then there's just the people I don't remember, right? All those people in the bottom row, I have no idea who the hell they are. So I apologize if I'm not remembering correctly who these people are, but I don't know who they are. So yeah, that is my list. If you got all the way through it, thank you so much for watching. This was a pretty simple video. It's kind of a cop-out, but it's just what I felt like doing. So I did it. I just had some fun with it. I've been playing the shit out of this game recently, so I need to talk about it. I also want to shout out to my friend Ryu. He's on Discord. He's known as Ryu. He actually introduced me to this game. He just kind of told me about it. I was gonna get a different game, but then Ryu told me to get Yakuza, and I had like a parting interest in Yakuza because I like open world games and stuff, and it's like a game set in Japan, and I have a general interest. Like, for example, I played Sleeping Dogs, right, which is set in Hong Kong, and I love that game. Not only because the gameplay was good, but because it's in Hong Kong, so it was like super awesome to like drive and walk around the streets of Hong Kong, see the bright lights and like the some of the cool stuff, and drive along those roads and stuff. It was cool. So something like that but in Japan, right? So I was like, I'm totally, you know what? I had an interest, but I never really committed to trying to get a game. And then Ryu kind of told me more about the game, and then I searched it up. Yakuza 0 was actually on sale for like $29. So I was like, fuck it, this is my chance. Yakuza 0 ended up being one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Fucking love that game. And then the other games were like, Yakuza 0, in my opinion, is the best, but the other ones are pretty damn good too. Right? Like Kiwami 1, I believe. Was it Kiwami 1 or 2? No, it was Kiwami 1 kept the fighting style thing from Yakuza 0, so Kiwami 1 was pretty fun. Nishikiyama is cool. Never got Kiwami 2 is kind of in the middle for me. You never got a chance to play Yakuza 3 because disc only, as I mentioned in the start. Yakuza 4 is, at this moment, probably my second favorite. Yakuza 4 is so much fun. Like, Saejima story, you know, you got Saejima story. The gameplay, the boss fight at the end is fucking awesome. Like, it's one of my favorite boss fights in any video game. It's so, like, it's so anime, and it's so, like, ridiculously cool that I was just like, fuck it, this is awesome. And then it introduced Akiyama. You know, I stan Akiyama, so it introduced him. He was interesting in that game. So yeah, and then, you know, Yakuza 5. Yakuza 5 is pretty good. Not as good as 4 though, in my opinion, but still pretty good. I don't wanna diminish it. But you know, though shout out to Yakuza 5. It has some like cool new features that I do enjoy. Yakuza 6 was pretty good. I enjoyed that too. And now I'm playing Judgment, which so far is good as far as the story is concerned. And while gameplay is concerned, it's really good. But that's all I got for it now. But I'll probably complete the game pretty soon. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you got all the way through, I'll see you guys on the next one.